Dietrich for the first time. What are your thoughts there? What are you looking for from him, and how are you addressing that situation?
Yeah, I think it's just important to give Rugi a little bit of a mental day. To be honest with you, he's been grinding pretty hard, and I know it's been affecting him quite a bit. Just I can tell in his conversations with me, with just his demeanor. You don't see Rugi get down too often, but he was pretty frustrated, and I think it's just I just basically told him, get with the hitting coaches. Let's try to figure this thing out. I know he's had success against Walker, but I felt it was more important to kind of give him just a mental day to try to figure this thing out because we need him to be good.
What can you tell us about Dietrich?
I can tell you he's gonna bring a lot of energy. He's probably gonna have a few chains hanging, while he's hitting. He's definitely got some swagger to him, but he plays hard, and that's one thing he loves to play the game. He doesn't get bothered by the other team. He wants to win, and that's what he's told me, and that's what he's told his teammates. So that's what we're expecting. And he's a good left-handed bat against right-handed pitching, and that's what I'm expecting out of him.
When you look at the AL West, it's obviously it's early, but it seems to be it's going to be pretty tight for that second spot, and that's assuming that the A's don't come back down to the pack. How much different is it right now, this early in the season, than it would be otherwise?
Yeah, it's probably different than we all anticipated. That's for sure. I think, I think there's gonna be a lot of factors that are gonna come into play. Obviously, COVID being one of them, but injuries, are gonna play a factor. Especially with pitching. I think it's a battle of attrition a little bit right now, and we're gonna play these guys over and over again. That's basically all we play except for the NL West. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting, kind of coming down to it. Hopefully, we can take the lead in that regard. Give ourselves a little distance between those teams, but I don't expect it to it's going to be tight the whole way through, and that's my expectations. And I hope we're at the end of it, at the top.
We've talked before about segmenting the schedule. When you look at this homestand, 5-1 sure would be a lot nicer than 4-2. Do you address that? You haven't been bashful about things like that in the past. I would assume you're not that way now.
No, it's definitely something I'll hit on the in the hitters meeting, and obviously Julio with their pitchers meeting. It's important. This is like you said, 5-1 is a lot better than 4-2. You gain a lot of games in the standings. I think it's just important that we that we kind of just continue offensively. I love that we've been scoring early in games. We place a lot of emphasis on that, and kind of starting off the game. Team that scores first typically wins. So it's really important that we just we have an off day tomorrow. We're not holding anything back, and I don't think our guys do that anyways. But today's a really important game to kind of, especially heading into Colorado where they're playing pretty well.
Thanks, buddy.
Other questions, please. Evan.
Hey, Woody. So on Dietrich, is there an opportunity for him to force his way into this being more than just a day?
I probably foresee him playing more first base, honestly. Given Frazier a day off, and I wanted to give Rugi a day off, just for his peace of mind, honestly, so he can kind of have a couple days to kind of work through some things. But yeah, I think it's an opportunity for everybody, honestly, to force their way in the lineup. If he comes in and has an impact, and we like what we see, I'm not saying he's going to play every day, but if they're quality at bats and he's productive, we need that right now. We need that all throughout our offense. So I foresee it more at first and maybe occasionally at third, and obviously some second base. But if he hits, I'm going to find somewhere to put him.
I'm just looking real quickly at his splits, and the other day you talked about Rugi being a reverse splits guy, and so if you look at Rugi splits versus right-handers and Dietrich splits versus right-handers, Dietrich's just got about the same number of career plate appearances, and he's a little bit more productive on the OPS end. There's a slight edge for Rugi on slug. Could you see a situation where you end up looking at that possibility?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Like I said, there's some uncertainty there. I think, obviously we need more production from Rugi, and he knows that, and that's what I'm trying to kind of give him the opportunity to seek that out and figure it out. If like I said, if Dietrich comes in and hits the ground running and has 4 graded passes today, I'm going to find a way to get him in there again. I don't know where that's going to be. If that happens to be, if Rugi continues to struggle and this guy takes off, then maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe that's an option. But I'm not looking that far ahead. I just want to see what we got today.
Like you said with Emil, you just want to put your best lineup out there for today because today's an important game.
It is, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Next question, TR.
Hey, Chris, I'm going to approach this in my usual manner, so be patient. But the other question, Joey Gallup is your everyday right fielder, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does Nick Solak enjoy the same status as the everyday center fielder?
Yeah, I would say right now, the way he's hitting right now, I would say he deserves to be in the lineup. If that's at second base, at center field, at first base, he could potentially play third. But as of right now, probably yeah, until Danny's able to come back and play center field.
What is your assessment of his defensive capability in center field at this point?
Adequate. I mean, he's obviously hasn't played a ton of center field, but I think he's done fine. There's maybe a couple balls that he misread, but overall, I think he's been fine out there.
So you're still waiting to see when Danny Santana gets back and is fully healthy, you will revisit center field?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's obviously if Danny's healthy, if his arm's healthy enough to play center field. I think early on, I think it's going to be more first base, second base for Danny, just because I don't want him to throw the ball as hard. He maybe can do that in center field. It's hard for Danny though because he has a hard time throwing the ball soft. So I don't want to put him in that situation.
Next question, please. Let's go to Alex.
Woody, he wasn't in the lineup yesterday, not in the lineup today, with an off day tomorrow. Is there anything physically with Robinson Chirinos?
He's got some left ankle soreness. I actually had Mathis catching yesterday regardless, but today's obviously was because Robbie we're trying to make sure he's healthy. So, he's been catching quite a bit. So the 3 days off will obviously keep him, give him a chance to heal up, and he'll be healthy for that Colorado series.
Okay, and would that have maybe anything to do with his offensive struggles? Or is that
I don't think so. I think he did it making a throw the other day, so and it was late in the game, so I don't think it has impacted his offense at all.
Okay, thank you.
A few more for Woody. Chris.
Just because I've slept since then, was that the same ankle that Chirinos got clipped at?
No.
By Heineman in the injury spot? No?
No, it was a different one.
Okay. And then, you've mentioned first base as an option for quite a few different players just now, with Santana, Frazier, Solak, Dietrich. Obviously, Frazier's one of your best hitters right now. Can you kind of go into the challenge of, especially if a guy like Dietrich comes in and hits the ground running, how you're able to get your best hitters in the lineup without doing anything to have to upload them around?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Hopefully, I have that problem that we have too many good hitters to put in the lineup. I'm okay with that. Listen, it's first base. Frazier's gonna play as long as he keeps hitting. He is our best hitter right now, in my opinion. Like he's just consistently, putting good bat on the ball, give you quality bats every time. It looks a little different at times, but you see that ball he hit yesterday. He's out in front of him, but he still almost hit a homer on it. So I love him in the lineup, and whether that's at third base, at first base, or possibly DH, against lefty or something, I don't know, but I'm going to find a way to get him in there.
One more. Derek's waiting. Let's go to two more. We'll go to John Rodigan and then Evan.
You mentioned about having some down, maybe some frustration right now. How's Elvis mentally as he kind of struggles similarly to what Rudy's been doing?
Yeah, I think both guys are kind of, they're both kind of really trying hard to figure this thing out. Yeah, I mean, Elvis is kind of in the same boat as Rugi is. They both know that they need to be productive. I think Elvis, obviously has been around a long time. Hopefully he'll, figure something out. Yeah, I don't know if it's a timing thing or a swing thing, but there is some need for a few adjustments. And, Elvis has been around a long time, so I'm hoping he makes that pretty soon because we need him to be productive as well.
Okay, Evan, last question.
Hey, so this will be one from out of left field, but last year in New York, that you had a game where you had some confusion about an umpire taking the balls out of play.
Yeah.
If you recall that at Yankee Stadium. And Lance's line in the middle of that game was, "We've got a plane to catch." Just wondering what your thought is in terms of like funny lines on a baseball field in the heat of competition. How that ranked at that moment. I know you're not thinking humor at that particular moment, but in retrospect, how does that play with you?
I don't know what the question is, but
I'm
I don't.
trying to figure out like how funny that line is and how it plays on his whip.
There are some funny lines that at the time you don't really find humorous, and then after you kind of go back and look, and you're like, that's pretty funny. That may be one of them. I think I kind of laughed when he said it. I was like, did he just say that? So I mean, that's kind of Lance, and certain guys have a knack for making comments like that at certain times. Typically the guys are quick-witted. That Joey has a lot of those at times. It's pretty quick on it, but I don't know what your question was as far as like what you wanted to answer, but I think there's definitely a time and a place for it. We need that in our game.
I think you just answered it really well,
Okay.
actually. So,
Okay.
thanks, man.
Okay, I have a funny line, Evan. We're gonna move. Levi.
Okay. Chris, you said earlier today, if he hits, I'm going to find somewhere to put him. Did that qualify?
I think so. I mean, yeah. I mean, it was a pretty good game. You can see the energy, Rod. Obviously, a huge hit in the 8th inning there to lead off. So I thought Swanson was really good against Solak, throwing 98, and then D kind of fouled some balls off and got a pitch to hit and got us going. So, ton of energy. Great game for him to start off.
I know you have an off day tomorrow, so maybe this is a bit early to ask, but do you have any plans for, the day after tomorrow in Colorado as it pertains to the trip?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get him in there somewhere, whether that's at first or second. I mean, I know he could play third as well. I'll figure out some way to get him in there.
Thank you.
GR.
Chris, what did this victory mean for your team? Come back like that?
Yeah, that's a huge victory for so many reasons. Just obviously we're 8-9 now. It could have gone the other way, and we could be sitting at 6-9, 7-9, whatever. It's huge. I mean, it's a huge thing for us. Just to know that we can come back. The way we came back, I think, speaks volumes. It wasn't via a home run or just one lucky pitch. It was, the way we got back into the game, I thought was critical. Down 4-0, and we steal second base and end up scoring on an E6. Chu steals on the first pitch and ends up scoring with 2 outs to make it 4-2. Like those moments are huge to get us back into the game. So that way something like the 8th inning can actually happen. But just the grit, Elvis with the big double there in the 8th inning. Just a lot of good things on all fronts.
Did you consider pinch hitting for Mathis in the 8th?
Yeah, I couldn't. Chirinos was down. I wasn't able to. I didn't want to put Chirinos back there. He's not 100%, so it didn't make sense to do it that time.
So that was the big obstacle in going for door.
Yeah.
Other questions for Woody? Alex, not Evan.
Woody, that double from Elvis Andrus, how good did that feel considering prior to scuffling throughout the season, but how good did that double feel?
Yeah, I'm sure if you ask him, it was it's a big sigh of relief. I watched him and Rugi, both were working really hard today. Both of them were working on a lot of things to kind of fix some things. Elvis looked better today, in my opinion. He lined out the second in his first at bat. His posture was better. His everything about his swing I felt looked better today. It looked more comfortable. He wasn't out in front. He wasn't chasing pitches. So that was good. I'm really happy for him, and I'm sure he's really excited about it.
Thanks, Woody.
Evan,
Can you, I mean, we could all see stuff on the field, obviously, but can you kind of explain how that energy in the dugout from Dietrich kind of manifests itself?
I think he's just naturally that way. We've had a ton of energy, obviously, before we got him. I feel like we've done a good job, especially in the dugout. But he just adds a little bit, more to that. He just never quits. I mean, that's just kind of his mentality. Him and Todd Frazier are very similar in the energy that they bring in the dugout. So we welcome everybody that has that kind of energy, that kind of spirit. That's what we want our ball club to be.
good? Anything else for Woody?
No, you have no video.
Hold on just a second.
Uh-huh.
You got it now?
I hear you.
Okay. You got questions?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
What you said before the game, 5-1 would be a lot nicer than 4-2. Is that in fact the case?
Yeah, state the obvious. Yes, especially the way we win that game. The one thing is we know it's not going to be easy as we go through. Offensively, we're just kind of, we haven't hit as well as we'd like, but we still managed to win some games offensively by doing some small ball, stealing bases, getting big hits. Like today, we got a couple hit by pitches, controlled the strike zone. Those are things that we have to do to win tough games like tonight. We're not going to hit the 3-run homer. Joey's not going to hit a 3-run homer every night to give us a win, and we know that. So we got to walk, we got to steal bases, we got to do the little things to kind of put some runs across the board when we're not hitting on all cylinders. And when we're doing that and also hitting well at the same time, that's when we extend leads and we get bigger, margins of victory, which, keeps our bullpen fresh, does a lot of positive things for our club. So that's something in a shortened season that's going to, be huge for us as we move forward.
And a first impression for Derek Dietrich, putting it mildly?
Yeah, it was pretty good. From the very beginning, it was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, he swung the bat really well. Basically hit all types of pitches, too. The first at bat, he hits a curveball. He hit a couple slider one time and a fastball the other. And then he gets, I don't know if that ball hit him, but it was really close. But he sold it and ended up, getting on first base for us. So those are things that, we need right now.
You also mentioned scoring first and how important that's been, but you alluded to it a little bit earlier about winning in different ways. And what kind of a confidence boost does this give a team, this type of win?
Yeah,
a team like this at this point in the season.
Absolutely. No, it's huge. It just makes us believe that it doesn't matter what the score is or how much we fall behind early. Ideally, we'd love to come out and score 4 in the first inning every night and do it that way. But listen, we know that it's going to be a grind this whole season. For 60 games, we can win games like that occasionally. That's a huge boost. So that way, when we get in those situations again, we can say, hey, we've been there before, we've done it. And a lot of times, even if the year before you did it a ton, every year is different. So you almost got to start over every year. But we have a lot of belief. I know that Elvis and those guys have been here a long time, and this has been a resilient ball club for a while. And that we're just trying to continue that trend.